What happens when you give men more money versus when you give women more money? The answer might surprise you. Give him the money. Now, that might sound like a bold claim, but what we're really exploring today is how income changes can influence life decisions, especially around relationships and family formation. A recent large-scale study from Denmark followed the entire population over 14 years, from 2004 to 2018. This wasn't based on opinions or surveys. It looked at real-world data, actual income changes, and actual birth outcomes. That's important because it helps us move beyond what people say they believe and toward what patterns show in behavior over time. So what did they find? When men received a permanent income increase of just 5%, they became more likely to have children, about 1% more likely relative to the population baseline. When women received the same 5% permanent income increase, they became less likely to have children. Not just a little less likely, 4% less likely, 4 times the magnitude in the opposite direction. Let that sit for a second. Same income increase, completely opposite reproductive outcomes. And this effect was sharpest in men and women under 30, exactly the window that matters most for fertility. For men, the relationship between income and children remained consistently positive across the entire lifespan. More money, fewer kids, across every age bracket studied. 2 straight lines running in opposite directions for the entirety of adult life. Now, why does this happen? The researchers offered what is honestly a fairly cautious interpretation. They argued that higher income creates a kind of golden handcuff effect for women, that once a woman is earning more, the opportunity cost of stepping out of the workforce to raise children becomes too high. Fair enough, that's a real mechanism, but it doesn't fully explain the picture. Here's the problem with that interpretation. The opportunity cost of leaving the workforce to have children doesn't disappear when a woman earns less. It's still there. And the argument that childrearing becomes harder the more resources you have at your disposal is very difficult to make with a straight face. Resources generally make caregiving easier, not harder. So the golden handcuff framing, while not wrong, is incomplete. The more direct interpretation the data actually support is this. When men get money, they spend it on families. When women get money, they spend it on themselves. This is not a moral judgment. It is an observed behavioral pattern at the population level in the most gender-equal society on Earth. Denmark isn't lagging on gender equity. It is, by nearly every international measure, the most sexually egalitarian country in the world. If the golden handcuff explanation were primarily driven by residual sexism and unfair domestic labor expectations, Denmark should show the weakest version of this effect, not the full-strength version. And yet, here we are. What the data reveal is something more structural, possibly more biological, and almost certainly older than any modern policy debate. Men and women respond to resource acquisition differently. For men, resources historically unlocked the ability to attract a partner and form a family. More resources meant more ability to provide, which meant more reproductive success. The pattern is deeply encoded. Earn more, build a family. For women, resources historically came through relationships, through partners, through children, as social and economic ties. When women can acquire resources independently, the calculus changes entirely. This isn't cynicism, it's pattern recognition. And the pattern shows up everywhere once you know to look for it. Consider the basic economics of why birth rates are in free fall across the Western world. A 25-year-old man in any major city today is looking at a small apartment shared with roommates, a modest salary, and a significant debt load. He is not avoiding fatherhood because he doesn't want it. He is delaying it because he is being rational. He looks at his situation and correctly concludes, I am not in a position to bring a child into the world. I need to build something first. And when through sustained effort he does build something, he doesn't retire into solitude. He starts a family. This pattern shows up in the data. It shows up in literature. It shows up across cultures and across centuries. The inverse pattern also shows up in the data, in literature, across cultures, and across centuries. Women with independent resources have historically and presently fewer children, not more. The mechanism is not malicious. It is simply that the economic incentive structure that historically connected women to family formation has changed. When resources are provided externally, family formation is one path to those resources. When resources are generated internally, family formation becomes optional, and increasingly, it is being opted out of. What the Denmark study ultimately suggests is that if any government or society is genuinely concerned about population collapse, and they should be, given the economic and social consequences of rapidly aging demographics, the policy lever that will actually move the needle is not subsidized daycare alone, not parental leave campaigns, not pro-natalist messaging. The intervention with the most direct evidence behind it is simple: increase men's earning power. Give men the economic foundation they need to become the providers they are wired to be. The data suggests strongly, consistently, across an entire population over 14 years, that men will do the rest. The numbers don't lie. The question is whether anyone is willing to listen to them. If this made you think, make it count. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. This data deserves a wider audience than it's going to get from mainstream media. Hit like and subscribe if you want more analysis like this. It helps more people find it. And leave a comment below. Does this match what you've seen in your own life? Make the case, push back, or add to it. The conversation is the point. Thank you for listening, and see you in my next video.